Okay, so I'd like to introduce Coach Stone, Martin Stone. Now, Martin's currently out at the University of Notre Dame, and I've known Martin for years. And as Casey had presented, I'd like to talk about this. I thought, boy, wouldn't it be great to have a coach come in and talk about drills that he actually uses. And you know, the conceptual here with Casey is, well, why should we use drills? How do we talk about drills? And so we talked to Martin. I said, would you like to? Martin was all over, yes, definitely want to come out. Martin runs a great program. We were both standing next to each other at the NCAA as our crews are warming up, preparing to race and stuff. And I just thought, wow, this guy is such a classy guy, so smart, and has a lot of knowledge. Have I flattered you enough yet?
Very much so.
There you go. Good. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, now don't break anything.
Yeah. Don't talk to my wife. That would be.
Yeah. Okay, so Coach Martin Stone.
So,
thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to talk. It's going to be more than 3, and I think in your packet there's a green sheet that has some of the drills that we're going to try to get over in our 17 and a half minutes or whatever's left. One of the things to start out with is that I think we have a mantra when we do our drills. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. And when I first dropped that on the team a couple years ago, I got a lot of blank stares. But now when I say that, they repeat it. And I think for the rowing stroke, to teach the stroke, slower is better. Taking your time, going over it, being very slow, very patient, and putting the athletes in the position to do the drill slowly and smoothly, knowing over long-term development, whether it's a course of the 4 years at your school or the course of the season, that you have that image in your mind of what you want them to look like at the ending point. I think that Coach Hargis talked about it earlier, long-term development. And so the drills that we're going to discuss are pretty much long-term drills that we do, and we do them fairly often, if not every day. The first drill, it's not really a drill so much as it's just kind of a philosophy on how we set up our practices in our boat, in our structure. Something I got from Tom Tehar a while ago, and one of those things that, you know, I wasn't sure I quite understood it, and it took me a while, and now I said, we put the person with the potential longest stroke in the stroke of the boat and work our way from tallest or longest to shortest, especially in the fall when we're doing long steady state work, anything like that. And occasionally we'll come we'll break the boats down in the spring in the middle of the racing season, and we may do the same thing. And the reason being is that we want those long, lanky people in the boat. We want them to be row smoothly, be able to take the time. They struggle, especially when they're young and they might not have grown into their bodies, they struggle following a person that's 4 or 5 inches shorter than them. So we just change it. We put them in the stroke position. And you might take a couple days because you might go like this for a while until they kind of figure out and get the sequencing down and they feel comfortable. Well, I'm going to move in this sequence at this speed. And when they get that down, then it's much easier. Okay, now we just want to speed that sequence up. Okay? That's much easier than, okay, we're going fast. Now we have to change your sequence. The changing of the sequence, and we see that all the time. When, especially when people coming in out of high school into our program, young women that we've recruited who've come in. And it's very difficult to change a sequence. The other thing we notice with the longer, taller athletes coming in is they row really, really short because they've been following people that are much shorter than they are, and they're like, I got to get to the catch, and I rush into the catch, I pitch forward, my blade goes up, I jump on it, my blade goes in, and I'm through the stroke. So we take our time. And long-term development-wise, with our first years, our novices, that's how they do it. So it's kind of a program-wide how we run that drill. Whether or not you've rowed the Junior World Championships, when you come into our program, you row in the first years in a novice, and I'm putting by my launch, I'm watching the first years row by, and you know, there's a woman that was third in the Junior World sitting in the 4th seat of the novice 8, and the other people are going like this. But long-term development for our taller, longer athletes, you just want to give them the sequence. Now, whether they have the horsepower, the fortitude, whatever, to make the stroke, to make the boat go fast later on in the season, we don't know. But to start out with taking our time, just how we sequence our boat or how we set up our crew and lineups, that's how we do it. Now, of course, it changes when we start to race and we do selection and we may move people around. But that's the first thing when we start out. So even before we've hit the water, we set up one of our drills. The next drill we do, and Larry touched on it, we watch our blades. We watch our blades a lot. You know, it's like one of those things, and there's one other thing I'm going to say that's like completely against conventional wisdom of rowing, like never look out of the boat, never look out of the boat. During our drills, I encourage our team to watch their blades a lot. Watch it's going back, how's it going? Is it going in where you want it? Now you feel that was great. Now do you feel what your body did or how you made that happen? At the release, the same thing. You reached out, you came around, they can watch their handle coming in. Okay? Did you finish elbows down? Did you finish elbow out? Where was your finish? What did it look like? Watch the blade on the drive. Are you watching the path going through? That type of thing. So video is great. We use video and whatnot, but right at the moment, at the start of practice, we watch our blades. Just watch it every stroke. It's not difficult. It's pretty easy. A couple things to just be aware when you're doing that drill. One, the coxswains have to be patient because if a person's watching their blade, the timing of all 8 individuals or all 4 individuals is not going to be on, right? And you don't want the coxswain to be saying, hey, 4-seat, get your blade in the water, or 4-seat, you're late, or whatnot, when she's just trying to work on getting the sequencing down and she's watching our blade. So there has to be some patience from your coxswain so that he or she is being patient with them and not forcing or not rushing the issue. Right? Kind of back to that slow is smooth and smooth is fast concept or mantra. We're just taking our time. That's the kind of the one thing that the timing of the whole crew when they're watching the blades at this point isn't going to be that great. Okay? But the individual, and especially early part of the season or early part of practice, you're working the individual. Just like in basketball, you ever go to a basketball game, they start the layup drill, right? Everybody goes out and shoots layups, just getting the basics down. So that's the same type of thing that we do. The next drill we do, and it's probably the basis of all, is we do what we call the sequence drill or the 5-part pause. Okay? We pause at the release, pause at hands away, pause at body away, half slide, and that half slide can be anywhere. Half slide's kind of a quasi position. And then we pause at the catch with the blade in the water. Okay? Now again, you need to involve your coxswain in this to make sure that when they're calling the starts and the goes from the pauses that she's taking or he's taking a lot of time between the pauses. Okay? Twofold, especially if we're doing the 5-part pause. One, you want the athlete to be able to be in position at the pause and feel and see what it's like. I'm paused at the release. My shoulders are back. I'm up a little bit, chin's up. I'm here, arms are like this. This is what a good finished position feels like. I'm at hands away. This is what a good position feels like. You're giving the athlete that time to feel where he or she is. Body over, same thing. Okay? They've moved over. And what you're watching from the launch, it also gives you time from the launch to say, hey, 4-seat, I always pick on the 4-seat for some reason, but maybe I have a bad 4-seat. You need to do this or do this, and they can listen to you, they can make the adjustment, and they're going, especially if while we're doing that, we're watching our blades. It gives them the time to feel it. Okay? Kind of back to slow is smooth and smooth is fast, long-term development. Okay? Taking our time early so that later on we can go a lot faster. Okay? Just a couple things. When they come when they're taking the pause, coming out of, when they're coming forward with their body, you want to make sure that they're a little loose in the shoulders and if they're watching their blade, they can check and watch how the blade is relating to the water. When they're coming from the body over position to go to half slide. Sometimes there's a tendency you look at it and they've got great body forward, everything's fantastic, and then they move the slide and the body lifts up. Yeah. You have to be aware and say, hey, did you see that? Did you feel that? You're taking your time, and if they're watching their blade, they may see that little change. And then the last one that we do is the pause that they catch. Blade in, they come forward, they put the blade in. And you're putting them in that critical position, that transition position. Right? This is what it needs to feel like when you're rowing 36 strokes a minute. This is at the position this is the position your body needs to feel like.